Do you like helping out with a good cause? Do you like golf? Do you like having fun? If these questions describe you as a person, then be on the lookout for the first inaugural Yapaholics golf tournament as we have more details come out throughout the year. Welcome back to Yapaholics, where we yap and you listen, the Pensacola podcast hosted by your local realtors. My name is Matt.
I'm CJ.
And today we are going to skip over a pour because we're actually recording during professional hours in the morning time, which is weird, not only for me, but for CJ, because normally he has a lot of stuff going on right now.
I've got a lot of stuff going on this afternoon and evening, which is why we're recording earlier in the day.
Yeah, so a little switch in the schedule there, but that's perfectly fine. We just got back from a 4-day conference in Atlanta, and we wanted to share some of the knowledge that we gained over the past 4 days with you. We sat through 8 hours of Gary Vee and Gary K or Gary Keller, so you didn't have to. And we're going to tell you exactly what matters here, especially in the Pensacola area. And some of this will be for realtors. So if you're a realtor and you're listening to this, please pay attention.
We're giving you all the secrets.
All of them. And let's talk about at least it was for me. I can't speak for you, but I think I have an idea. Let's talk about our favorite speaker of the entire conference, which was Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as most popular as Gary Vee. He was incredible, electric, had pretty much everyone in the audience. I say pretty much because we did have some complainers, some people that he touched to the sensitive soul.
The crybabies he was talking about.
The crybabies. But, I mean, just 10 out of 10 out of the gate was getting me hyped up. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he was speaking directly to me in a room of like 13,000 people. It definitely hit home of what we're doing here on the pod. It is definitely something that we can continue to do long term. And also double down on keeping things local here in the Pensacola area is the biggest takeaway I've got. One thing he said about our industry as a whole, being in real estate, we are a bunch of selfish individuals, and these just solds and just listeds and under contracts are meaningless. They're just an ego boost as they produce nothing to the ideal audience that we're after. And then you and I talked about it. We talked about it after the fact. We want to be a stepping stone for people moving to the area. So we're talking about our experiences here in Pensacola, the food we eat, the places we go to, the things we do on a day-to-day basis. So we can share this information for people that are new to the area, may not have heard about some of these places, or just venturing out, whether, it be for a day or to live here.
Yeah, especially touching on those clearly introverted people that I tend to hang out with a lot, such as nerds, because we know that it's not easy to get out of the house all the time. So we do it for you and give you everything that you need to know about the Pensacola area from our perspective.
Now, speaking of nerds, let's talk about a little bit about of your nerd contacts that you got. You had a kind of eye-opening experience, right?
Yeah, we had one extroverted nerd in the crowd at one of the breakout sessions, and he actually got up on the mic and said his niche out loud, and it was like a bat signal. It called all of the nerds in, boy. But one, we all started cheering, and then two, everybody waited for everyone to stop talking, and then we all ran up front to where he was. It was one of the coolest experiences ever, and I've met some pretty cool people out of it. We have some good contacts all over the place, Seattle, North Carolina, just everywhere, really. I mean, all in all, that's what this conference was about, was to meet people and to kind of go over how real estate is changing. And one of the biggest things, especially from Gary Vee, was social media. I mean, or what he called interest media.
Yeah, it's no longer social.
Yeah, people are using social media more as a Google search than anything else at this point.
Absolutely. And I think I've done it, right? We go to a town we've never been. What's the first thing I do? I go on YouTube or TikTok and type things to do in Atlanta or places to eat in Atlanta, and then take the recommendation for the first, few people that pop up.
Yeah.
But it kind of was an eye-opening thing to hear, as we don't think of social media that way, but it's ever changing. Who knows what it's going to be like by the end of this year? But if we, share everything we love about our area, people will enjoy it.
Right. And one of the things that Gary Vee said that really stuck out to me, and this one goes out to really all the realtors in the area, but not just realtors. I feel like anybody can use this specifically. There's a lot of people that complain about social media. They think it's all bad, that it's nothing but toxicity, that it changes geopolitics, yada, yada, yada. Gary Vee said, if it's powerful enough to change geopolitics, you don't think it's powerful enough to sell a house?
Amen, brother.
And that really stuck with me, not just because I'm a realtor. Obviously, that's the reason that I vibe with it. But you could take that same sentence and put anything on the end of it, right?
Yeah, just plug and play.
Right. Look what happens with TikTok Shop and everything there. We have friends personally who has made a living off of doing nothing but selling stuff on social media. So I really think it's eye-opening for everyone to get out there and just start posting, whether it be about real estate, whether it be about something you're passionate about. There is no reason to not have some kind of stream of income from social media at this point.
Yeah, there's a audience for everything. I mean, not to circle back to the nerd stuff, but the nerd stuff, like literally whatever you're into, there's a platform or there's a platform for it and an audience for it as well. The biggest takeaway that I got is using all of the platforms, the TikToks, the Instagram, the YouTube Shorts, the Facebooks, the Snapchats, the LinkedIn's.
That was a big one for me. Obviously, LinkedIn, we've started hearing a little bit more about just within our personal circle, but Snapchat community was what really stuck out to me. I never once thought to use Snapchat community, but it's definitely something I'm going to look into going forward, especially because I think it touches our personal database even more than Facebook or Instagram. People who use Snapchat religiously.
I don't have a Snapchat, so I couldn't tell you, but that's all you. You can set it up for us. But I was shocked to see that I haven't had Snapchat in like 7 years. So it was kind of mind-boggling to me to hear that it's still kind of relevant in like a community aspect. I had no idea that was even a thing.
I know people now that still only use Snapchat to take pictures. Like they won't use their actual phone camera to do it. They take pictures on Snapchat and then save the picture to their camera roll.
Because of the filters?
I don't know if it's because of the filters or what. Like I just know that I see people pull out their phone, pull up Snapchat to take a picture of something and then save that image to their camera roll.
More power to you.
Let us know in the comments if that's something that you do. I want to know if there's a reason why or not.
That's mind-boggling to me. But hey, to teach their own. Who am I to judge?
Of course. And then before we get off of speakers in general, one of the speakers that kind of took a long time to get around to his message to me, Donald Miller.
Oh, yeah, the author. Yeah.
I thought
the right words to say.
Yeah, I thought he had a lot of really good points. Unfortunately, he came up right after someone who had the highest of high energies, and Giselle Ugarte, who was a phenomenal.
She killed it too, by the way.
It was phenomenal speaking from her.
We're not sharing anything about her. We're keeping all that inside.
Absolutely. But Donald Miller, and this kind of goes out to most of the agents, and then if you are selling something, maybe you can take something away from this, whereas you don't need to point yourself as the hero. You need to point yourself as the guide.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Say that again.
You need to point yourself as the guide, not the hero. And the reason for that is because, like we talked about at the very beginning of this, most people are putting themselves as the hero, which makes it seem as selfish content. It's for you. It's not for someone else. We're in this industry to help people. We should be the guide, not the hero of the story.
Absolutely. I can't say anything better than that. And I think that's Gary Vee had touched on it, and then he had said it in a different way that struck to me, but it's exactly right. If we're the guide, and really from initial conversation to beyond the sale, right? We're keeping up with people. We're guiding them through the entire transaction, keeping up with them after the fact, making sure that they have everything they need, reminding them of dates, really being the guide. And then I'll post it on social media because it doesn't matter.
Right.
We just then use that experience and then critique it or make it better, or even personalize it even more for the next experience, for the next individual.
I agree. And then one last thing, I will say one thing from Giselle Ugarte's piece, which was just a quote that she said to us that will lead us into this next little segment here, which is she said that AI will only replace you if you are using AI to replace you.
Oh, that's such a good line.
And the reason I bring that up is because one of the main topics of the entire weekend was that you have to add AI into your business. This is going to go for everyone, not just real estate agents. It is big for real estate agents because you can use it to enhance what you're already doing, but you've got to kind of use it to get ahead of the curve because everyone in the world is using AI at this point.
business is using AI. Literally, if you're not using AI, you're falling behind. And once you fall behind, you're never going to catch up.
And the more surprising thing, at least to me, was that AI is being used more as a source to search things rather than Google's still number one. Google's probably going to be number one for a while. But like if people are looking up realtors to use, a lot of people are using AI now.
Yeah, so I think it was Google, YouTube, and then AI, chat specifically, but we'll see if they lose or another one gains the market share. But I thought it was interesting because now when you Google, right, the first thing that pops up is the AI
Overview. Yep.
overview, and then the second thing that pops up is the sponsored search, and then it's immediately a YouTube Shorts after that. And then people are going, probably taking that information and then going to chat and, deep diving it further.
Of course. And one of the things that I want to touch on as far as AI goes, we kind of hit on this just a couple episodes ago where we were talking about Zillow, but this goes for AI just as much.
Let me ask you a question. During the conference we're at, there's a big exhibit hall with a whole bunch of companies and sponsors. Did you notice how many companies were there that had some kind of AI thing in the business that they were trying to market to us?
Almost all of them.
Yeah, almost all of them.
I think the only one that didn't, and they could probably implement it somehow, was the store where I got my shirt at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think everything was based around AI because that's where the world is moving to. But like I said, just a couple episodes ago, we were talking about Zillow and what Zillow can't tell you. AI can't tell you a lot of stuff around the area as well. You know what I'm saying? They may be able to describe it a little bit, but I've never been able to read words and smell smells at the same time, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense. I can't read in general, but I definitely can't read and smell at the same time.
Right.
I get too distracted, but that's beside the point.
I think maybe you heard the wrong thing there.
I can't listen either.
I'm just going to explain it a little bit better. Maybe that was on me. I cannot read descriptions of smells and then in my brain have that smell come up.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's exactly how I am with like visioning things, right? Like when there's a virtual staging, right? With
Mhm.
the AI software, I can't envision like my belongings there. Like I don't want the AI to do it for me. Like that's not my stuff. Then it like turns me off on that kind of thing. So to that point, it doesn't always help.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. Now, I think that the way that we need to be using AI is to just enhance people's experience, to double check ourselves and kind of, take the human mistakes out of things. Regardless, we are humans, mistakes will be made,
Of
right?
course.
This can help us make less mistakes as much as possible.
Yeah. And again, it's not with the AI, it's not there to replace us, right? I feel like a lot of people are trying type in some kind of prompt for it to replace you, right? But if you
Mhm.
can use whatever you're doing and enhance the product that you're delivering, well, I think is the future.
I think one of the biggest things that I like to use AI for is like scheduling.
Yeah, 100%.
It helps me out so much
Yeah.
with figuring out what my day could look like.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with Gemini, it's attached to our calendars and our emails. So I have it just go into my calendar. I give it a whole bunch of addresses of where the showings are. And then I say, give me the best route possible. And then it spits out which one's to schedule first.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last thing to touch on about AI is I know you said that chat was like the biggest one as at the moment, but
Correct.
Gary Vee specifically said that Gemini will probably own anywhere between 35 to 40% of the share space of AI just due to it being attached to Google.
Yeah.
Google will never try to allow themselves out of that kind of market. So,
Yeah, of course. They were a little late to the market, or I guess I should say, chat marketed it first, so they have the market share. But I think somebody else during the one of the other presenters had put it that there's so many different AI platforms now. You are basically picking which one's your favorite. I liked chat originally, but I've in the last probably 6 months or so, I've gone towards Gemini. But again, who knows where the next 6 months are going to bring? Who knows what the updates are going to be? And but there's really again, I feel like if you're just using it, doesn't matter which platform, you're already ahead of the people who aren't using it. But then you can play with it further, see which ones you like better. But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer with it. But Gemini's definitely going to continue to gain market share. They have Google. They have unlimited money.
Yeah, I agree. Well, what's something that you may have taken away from Gary Keller's vision speech that we could help everyone realize here? I know it's more of a global look
Yeah.
than anything, but how can we help our people in Pensacola?
Yeah. Broadly speaking here, the rich get richer, and the rich are getting richer by investing in real estate specifically. Of course, you're going to have immediately people say, oh, that's a terrible idea. Just put it in the stock market. You should also be doing that. Yes. You want to diversify your money, right? The tax breaks in real estate are one of the best. But again, we should have bought 20 years ago. We should have bought, 30 years ago. I should have bought the day I came out of the womb. But the next best day to purchase is today, because historically prices will always go up. Again, that's very micro, but on a macro scale, it's always appreciated. We can, the bell curve is there. Year over year, you long term hold it, your wealth's going to continue to build.
Absolutely. And we kept hearing a lot about, in general, there being a big buyer's market right now, which I think around the world, or at least around the States, it is basically a buyer's market. But here locally, we're in more of a seller's market than we are a buyer's market
Yeah.
because our inventory is so low.
Yeah, we haven't seen the inventory pickup like we had initially thought, which is an interesting thing because the rates of the last couple of years, we've been hearing interest rates. I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy. Interest rates have stabilized. They're historically low, right? They're in the high fives, low sixes at the moment. So the demand is back. We just have a supply issue. Now there's a stat out there that there's more mortgages above 6% than there are at 3%. So people have bridged the gap there to justify moving. We just haven't seen it locally. We have a supply issue. The supply's low. And when you don't have a lot of supply and you got a lot of demand, what is that going to do?
Put you in a seller's market, and
Yep.
it allows the sellers to really control what they're selling their house for at the moment, which never makes it easy for buyers. But one of the reasons that we bring this up is because he started this off by saying the rich get richer because they're investing in real estate. One of the things that I took away from it is I believe that correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the average age of the first-time home buyer at this point is like 35 to 40.
40. Yeah, 40 is the average age of the first-time home buyer, which is the highest it's ever been.
And I really wanted to bring this up because you said that we should have bought 20 years ago, which is the perfect thing to say, especially when first-time home buyers right now, the age is as high as it's ever been at 40. We really should have young adults in their 20s, as long as it makes sense for them looking to buy real estate. And that's the people that I feel like have been disconnected from the market the most.
Yeah, because historically, right, you get in your first house, you're going to gain by just existing and breathing on this earth, you're going to gain equity. And then by the time life happens and life transitions, you will then, by existing and living somewhere you'd be living anyway, you would then have the equity to purchase and use towards the second house, which is typically a bigger house. And then you would just forever snowball it and roll it, and or continue to buy more doors and see the path to passive income flow in. So it starts with one door, which is typically your first house, but now that's coming later in life. And at the age of 40, it's kind of surprising. I think there's a lot of lack of education of it doesn't need to be that high because you don't need as much money as you think to get into the first house. But I understand the affordability issue that we're having across the United States as well.
Absolutely. And before we move on to the last couple of points of the vision speech here, I do want to say that if you are younger and in your 20s and you don't think it's possible for you to own a home right now, please reach out to us. We can help you at least figure out a path to home ownership.
We both did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. And going forward there, I wanted to touch on one of the last things that you said, which was that the affordability issue, that was a big topic in the vision speech. And really, the kind of sentiment around it is that we are just in a microscope view of the last 10 years rather than in history. So it looks really bad at right now what the affordability is, but affordability is actually coming back down to earth. We're getting closer to the line of the historic average than we have in a long time. And I think people have a hard time looking at that because of the way everything feels.
Correct. Yeah, when the groceries and the power and everything's expensive, it's hard to justify the housing not being astronomical. But we're basically back into where now it makes sense again to purchase versus rent. The last year or so, when the last 2 years, basically when the interest rates were above 7, they almost hit 8. Sure, I understand. But now that we're back down with the interest rate wise, it now makes sense again to purchase over renting.
Absolutely. And now that doesn't go for everybody. I will clarify this. If you are always on the go and never really staying at your house, maintenance might be an issue. Renting does make sense for a lot of people. If that's you, by all means, keep doing that. Just know that homeownership leads to wealth. And it's proven time and time again by all these people who have a lot of money, who constantly invest in real estate and continue to grow their money. It's hard to get off the ground, but you can do it.
All it takes is one.
Absolutely. Was there anything else that you learned from family reunion that you'd like to give the people?
Yeah, actually, Pensacola may not be known for the most luxurious place to live. However, we've seen over the last few years, probably since right before COVID, the more luxury side coming down to Florida, right? So we have a luxury area. Some people may have heard of it, our 30A, Seaside, Rosemary, that area over there. Destin, a lot of people have heard of Destin, so that's more of the upscale luxury side. But don't sleep on Pensacola. We have a nice little niche area in town of it being luxury. And again, the opposite of what I just said about affordability for the wealthy, our area is very affordable.
Very affordable.
It's a very low cost of living compared to your New York, your New Jersey, your California, or your Atlanta, the bigger, Minnesota's a big one. Minneapolis is a big one we see a lot of people from. Uh, it feels expensive here, but it's not. So when you have the money and coming from a luxury market to another one, it makes sense.
Yeah, that was super eye-opening to me over the weekend. We got to talk to agents from all over the states and all over the world, really. We had people from other countries that joined us for this conference, and it was super interesting to see how our local area held up to other cities around the world. And we are truly one of the most affordable places that you can find. Granted, I didn't get to talk to every single city, so now I'm just speaking to the ones that I did talk to. We're compared to Seattle, it's not even close.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a big one. The Baltimore area,
Yeah.
that's another one. I wouldn't have thought of it, but so you have that like weird. I don't know how the world works, but you have like a 5 minute radius where you can be in like Maryland, DC, and Virginia,
Yes.
connected by a bunch of bridges. But that whole area there sounded very expensive.
One of the places that I got to talk to an agent about a lot, actually a couple of agents, because there was quite a few from North Carolina.
Hmm.
But the North Carolina area is actually quite similar to ours, but they're still pricier than us.
Yeah.
Not by a ton, but they still are pricier than us for sure.
Virginia's another one, where the military bases are there in Virginia. It seems to be expensive. Obviously, I talked to someone from LA. That's not even fair to compare. But the LA market's insane. But you hear all this and we're saying all these words, but it's meaningless here in Pensacola because every little area of Pensacola is completely different. That's why we harp so much on the micro of the area where you would want to live. For example, I just had a 45-minute conversation the other day with a guy looking to move to the area. We were talking the differences between Beulah and East Hill. And if you know the two differences there, you can't even compare them. They're two completely different things. And in the future of the areas are completely different as well. So it seems expensive until we get into the nitty gritty of exactly where you want to be and what makes sense for your life.
I completely agree. That's really all I had for the family reunion recap. It was phenomenal. I feel like we learned a lot. Last little segment of the day. Let's yap a little bit. What do you got going on? What's ahead for you in the next coming weeks?
Yeah, so I've family reunion wasn't a vacation, right? We were out of town. It wasn't a vacation. So now I get to pack back up, go on vacation. But we've got a busy couple of months ahead. We'll be announcing something here in the couple of weeks that we'll be working hard on behind the scenes.
Actually, it'll be at the beginning of this episode.
Actually, we've already announced it at the very beginning of this episode. So we're planning a golf tournament, now that it's announced. So we're looking forward to building that up here for the fall. So I've really been putting all of my extra energy into that. But besides that, I'm just enjoying what this year has had to offer so far. It's kept me busy, kept me on my toes. I've met some incredible people in Atlanta. I definitely can't complain.
I know. I can't wait to follow up with all the people that I met and hopefully grow those relationships there. Let me ask you this. Where are you going on vacation? I've been waiting for this.
Well, I'm staying in the great state of Florida. I'm driving about 8 hours. Probably it'll take me 10 to get down to Orlando. And there's this mouse guy that controls all right outside of Orlando there called Disney. You may have heard of the place. I'm going to go spend the next 5 days in Disney.
Dude, I saw the funniest TikTok the other day about Disney, which was, you might not have seen the whole thing, but have you ever seen Hamilton?
Yes.
The king?
Yes.
Whenever he comes back or whenever he comes on for the first time, you'll be back. It was, dude, the TikTok was of Mickey standing on a balcony.
That's so true.
And then the king underneath him singing that song. And it was like, Mickey, every time you leave Disney. And it's so true.
I would love to say this would be my last time going, but there's already another trip planned for October.
Nice.
Not nice.
I don't have any of my trips planned for Disney this year, but I know for a fact I'll end up going.
What's keeping you busy these days?
I mean, work in general, this podcast. I've spent a lot of time on this. I really care about it a lot because I care about the area, which I have a question for you about the area in just a moment.
Sure.
But as far as coming up for me, I still have my planned vacay, which will just be a couple days in May.
Yes. Yeah.
I forgot, but I'm going to see Fluffy in April. And then I just got plans while we were in Atlanta. In July, I'll be going to North Carolina to see J. Cole in concert.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
That'll be sick.
Yeah, I can't wait. We wanted to go to his hometown.
Where's that?
I can't remember where it's at.
Okay, sick.
But the tickets were astronomical.
I believe it.
And then we decided on Raleigh.
Yeah. Did you meet anybody from Raleigh by chance at family reunion?
I don't think I met somebody specifically from Raleigh, just around that area. I know one of them was from Pinehurst.
Yeah, I don't know how close any of that is.
Yeah, I don't know how close any of it is either. But then we decided to do Raleigh, and then that show, we got tickets for it, and it sold out the same night.
Wow.
So it should be a blast, though. I've never been to North Carolina, so this will be fun for me.
I was in North Carolina for a total of about like 3 minutes, driving through Georgia to somewhere else. Looked great.
Nice. Well, last little thing here before we get out of here, CJ.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you this, and we might start asking anybody that we have on this. What do you love about Pensacola?
Brother, that's a great question, actually. And I don't even know where to begin. I believe the main thing I really love about Pensacola is definitely the weather. All of it. The cold, the warmth, the freezing, me getting in my car and absolutely just sweating. But on a beautiful day, especially the next 2 months that we have where I can just stop what I'm doing, take the day off and go play golf and just enjoy the 75-ish degree weather is incredible. I say that because I just saw a video on TikTok last night of someone opening their front door and it's completely covered in snow.
Gross.
And I'm like, that
I would die.
I would die.
I would die. There's no way.
There's just no way. So even though we say it's cold, which it can be, I still think our weather is the best, along with the food. Our food scene is severely underrated. There's great food in our area. But if I had to pick one about the area in general, it's the weather.
And I think that just going off of that and telling you what I love the most about Pensacola is, and I know this may be the case with a lot of cities, but specifically Pensacola, I love the diversity here. And you were just talking about how each spot is so much different in Pensacola. And that's one of my favorite things. The fact that you can go to East Hill and then have a completely different experience just 30 minutes away from that in Beulah is so much fun to me. I feel like it's never a boring time because everything is always different no matter where you go. And there are so many small niches in Pensacola that make it so much fun to be able to hang out with
Yeah.
the people that like the same thing as you.
Yeah, for sure. And there's always something to do in town. Again, doesn't matter what time of year, there's always something to do. So this town, you make it what you want it to be. So whether you can stay inside and, nerd out all day is totally on you. But if you wanted to get out the house and do something, there's definitely something to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it for this episode of Yapaholics. If you are looking to buy, sell, or just have questions about real estate, please click the link in the description, and me and CJ both will be glad to answer you. Like, subscribe, comment, and until next time.
We'll yap you later.